Good evening. I'm glad you can join us today at our first Health at the Park. I hope that next time we can meet in person. I'm going to switch now to the presentation and then I'll be joining you again later on this evening. Okay, at this point, we're going to spend some time talking about how to optimize the immune system. We're going to cover the foundation to good health, which is good nutrition. Then we're going to briefly discuss how the immune system works. And then finally, we're going to talk about if we are sick, what are some nutrients that could be helpful? In the Bible, we find the story of God's prescription to humankind. It is found in Genesis 1:29. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. This is found in Genesis 1:29. So as you can see here in the garden already, God gave us the best prescription. After the fall, he then gave herbs of the field for healing, and that is found in the book of Genesis, chapter 3, and verse 18. These herbs and leaves help with healing. He provided seeds, which includes beans, whole grains, legumes, and nuts, and also provided us with fiber, phytochemicals, and vitamins. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about them. I'm going to go back a little bit and talk to you a little bit about the story of the two builders. So in the book of Matthew, we find the story of two builders. I'm going to paraphrase it for you. One of the builders was the detailed builder. He went the extra mile, took extra time. He built his house on a rock. This was not an easy thing for him to do. It did require a lot of effort, and it was more time consuming as well as costly. The other builder was focused on just getting that job done. He wanted to reap the rewards as soon as possible. He was very proud of what he had achieved. But then one day, the big test came, torrential rains and winds, and the one who worked harder was spared from losing his home. Unfortunately, the one who decided to go the easy way and build on sand, he lost everything. Obviously, this story has religious implications that are related to the fact that we should build our foundation on Christ. But I feel like we can make an application to our health as well. So yes, a healthy lifestyle takes commitment, resources, time, and even extra effort. But in the end, the result is the best that we can imagine. And that is a healthy body that can be used by God. Let us remember this illustration when we make choices about anything in life. Let us not forget that all that we do amounts to nothing without the power of Jesus. He is the only one that can bless our feeble efforts. And, you know, friends, he's more than willing to do so. So why do we eat? Well, we eat for many reasons. We like food. Sometimes maybe our energy level is going down, and some people experience low blood sugar levels, and we need to replenish energy. Sometimes we eat because of social reasons, such as getting together with friends and loved ones and creating memories. Other times people eat simply because they are coping with stress or because they're totally bored. So I want to point out to you that whatever we do, let us think about eating for the glory of God. When we choose his prescription, as I stated earlier, we get everything we need. We get vitamins, we get minerals, and we get also phytochemicals that helps us to fight disease. Vitamins are powerful organic essential nutrients that are found in the foods that we eat, and they're divided into water soluble, that includes the B complex vitamins as well as C vitamin. B complex plays a role in the production of white blood cells and T killer cells. We're going to talk about them a little bit more in just a few minutes. Good sources of B vitamins include whole grains, legumes, nuts, as well as seeds. Vitamin C is a potent antioxidant. During illness, supplementation with this vitamin can reduce the length and the intensity of viral infections. Good sources of vitamin C include citrus, papaya, kiwi, peppers, broccoli, as well as all leafy greens. The fat-soluble vitamins include vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, as well as vitamin K. We're going to focus on vitamin D as well as vitamin K. Vitamin D behaves closer to a hormone, has been shown to boost resistance to viral infections, including COVID-19. A recent study that was published November 27 of 2020 found that 9 of 10 COVID-19 deaths may be related to vitamin D insufficiency. In this country, approximately half of the population has vitamin D levels below the recommended range to enhance immunity. And during certain seasons, such as fall and winter, we experience seasonal flu outbreaks, and we have found that it's because lower sun exposure during this time leads to lower blood levels of vitamin D. Good plant sources of vitamin D include mushrooms, as well as fortified soy milk and fortified orange juice. So, when was the last time that you had your vitamin D tested? Friend, if you haven't tested your vitamin D, I highly encourage you to do so. The recommended daily allowance actually in our country ranges from 60 to 80 international units a day. But some experts point out that this amount is not enough even during spring and summertime. During fall and winter, because we are not as exposed to sunlight, we are at increased risk of having low levels, as I said earlier. And individuals at risk especially include those with advanced age, insufficient sun exposure, obesity, and those with darker skin. So most of us likely need some kind of supplementation. And some physicians recommend up to 10,000 international units at least until optimal levels are achieved. So optimal levels will be somewhere around 60. Now, vitamin D needs help in order to be absorbed. And so usually we need to combine vitamin D with vitamin K2, and that will be about recommended allowance is 90 to 120 micrograms, as well as magnesium. And the recommendation is 320 to 420 milligrams per day. By combining vitamin D with vitamin K as well as magnesium, the risk for any kind of calcification of toxicity is way down. So we do recommend that you check with your physician and have your vitamin D tested. We also get minerals. Minerals help maintain the composition of bloody fluids and help us achieve proper chemical balance, which is very important for healing. Major minerals include calcium, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, sodium chloride, and phosphorus. So as I stated earlier, magnesium plays a role in the absorption of vitamin D, but it also is essential for the regulation of blood glucose levels. Good sources of magnesium include avocado, nuts, legumes, tofu, seeds, bananas, greens, and whole grains. Trace minerals, that is the amounts that are in very small quantities, include iron, copper, iodine, selenium, chromium, silicon, zinc, and boron. We're going to talk a little bit more about selenium and zinc. Selenium is an antioxidant known to boost the immune system by protecting our cells. This mineral also plays a role in maintaining healthy thyroid function. Sources of selenium include Brazil nuts, brown rice, sunflower seeds, oatmeal, lentils, cashews, and bananas. And then we have zinc. Zinc helps us to preserve the lining of the respiratory system. It's also essential for wound healing. If suffering from a viral infection, the recommended supplementation level is 50 milligrams a day for just 7 days. Good sources of zinc include legumes, so that will be beans and peas, nuts, seeds, as well as whole grains. So the word phyto means plant, and chemicals. That's chemicals that are found in plants. And this helps to enhance our immune function, reduce the risk of diabetes and heart disease, and it helps prevent free radical formation. Okay, so by including vibrant looking colors and textures on our plate, we can enhance our natural immunity and enjoy the flavors. So how do we support healthy cells in the body? Well, make sure you have a variety of foods, that you have lots of color, that you stay away from unprocessed foods as much as possible. Stay away from things that are packaged or canned. Look for foods that are as natural as possible. And if you can grow your own food, that's even better. And we also need to think about how to cook these foods in a healthy way. Because if we are adding a lot of fats and lots of salt and sugar, then the quality of that food declines and we could actually have harm. So the result of following the prescription found in Genesis 1:29 is a healthy immune system. The immune system has been likened to an army or a beautiful orchestra. It is composed of white blood cells. These white blood cells are like little soldiers that charge into battle at the first sign of trouble. And there's different ones. We have phagocytes. These are the ones that ingest and absorb invaders, such as viruses and toxins that are damaging to the body. So when the body is attacked by a virus, oftentimes we might notice a fever. This is actually a sign that the body is doing its job. Fever releases these white blood cells, increases metabolism, and stops certain organisms from multiplying. And one of the best ways for us to make sure that our white blood cells are functioning properly is proper sleep. So the phagocytes, they ingest viruses and bacteria. They target pathogens and toxins. We also have lymphocytes. There are three types of lymphocytes in the body: B cells, T cells, and natural killer cells. B cells creates antibodies that attack bacteria, viruses, and toxins. T cells kill cells that have been overtaken by viruses or cancer cells. T cells and killer cells work as a team to find and destroy viruses. And after killing a virus, T cells replicate themselves, creating extra soldiers to protect the body. The helper T cells then calls the cleaning crew, and that's the B cells. The B cells alters the body of the viruses, becoming the memory cells, so that, in fact, if the virus ever comes back, the virus will be eliminated immediately. To avoid reducing the effectiveness of the immune system, it is important to maintain blood glucose levels in normal range. And you need to check with your physician as to what is the optimal range for you if you are diabetic. Now, there are some things that can reduce the effectiveness of this immune system and the white cells. Studies have shown that 1 to 2 hours after eating sugar, 50% of these cells are not able to do their job. And this effect can last up to 5 hours. So you see during fall and winter, when maybe we're not getting enough sunlight, oftentimes we're eating too much sugar. And that's another reason why we see this increase in seasonal flu and other diseases, respiratory diseases. So what foods are high sources of sugar, and how can I reduce my sugar intake? That's something to think about. Okay, maybe can I give up beverages that are sweet and drink more water? This will be something that could be helpful. And as I mentioned earlier, that another thing that can be helpful is proper sleep. Even partial sleep deprivation decreases natural killer cell activity by 30%. People who sleep less than 7 hours per day are 3 times more likely to develop cold symptoms than study volunteers who slept at least 8 hours or more hours per day. This was done a study in a university. So the B complex has a role in the production of white blood cells and T cells. So in order to make sure that you're getting enough of this B complex, eat whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. So remember also to include vitamin C, things like your citrus, peppers, papaya. We mentioned this earlier, but I just wanted to review it with you. The recommended daily allowance for vitamin C is between 65 to 90 milligrams per day. Vitamin C was found to actually prevent what is called the cytokine storm when a person has COVID-19. And this is something that can result in death. So for vitamin D, remember that oftentimes it requires supplementation, and likely that you may be at suboptimal levels. So you need to really check your levels. Okay. Then now we're going to talk a little bit about the cytokine storm. What is a cytokine storm? That is when an infection triggers the immune system to produce inflammatory compounds known as cytokines. These compounds cause the body to fight against itself, killing tissue and causing damage to the organs in the body that often result in death. So, what are some of the sources of vitamin D? Mushrooms is a good source, and also fortified soy milk, as well as mentioned earlier, 20 minutes or so of sunlight exposure. Magnesium. Where do we find magnesium? Remember, it is one of the factors that helps in absorbing vitamin D. And we find magnesium in avocado, nuts, legumes, tofu, seeds, bananas, greens, and whole grains. And then we talked about zinc. Zinc is actually the one that is known as the gatekeeper. And it helps actually to include these, especially during disease. And as far as supplementation, it's recommended not to take zinc supplementation during illness for more than 7 days. Why? Because excessive amounts of zinc levels can lower the amount of chromium. Zinc is found in legumes, nuts, seeds, as well as whole grains. And so, once again, the deficiency of copper, I'm sorry, I think I said chromium, is the result of taking too much zinc. So we have to make sure that we don't take too much of it. Okay, so selenium is an antioxidant, and it protects against infection as well. Selenium is found in Brazil nuts, brown rice, sunflower seeds, oatmeal, lentils, as well as cashews. Okay. Another antioxidant that has been shown to help with respiratory disease such as COVID-19 is N-acetylcysteine, which is known for short as NAC. NAC has been shown to reduce the severity and length of infections by assisting the liver in detoxification. And is found naturally in foods such as lentils, oatmeal, sunflower seeds, and shiitake mushrooms. So currently, it's a little bit hard to find this supplement. One way that you can still get the benefit is by making sure that you're eating the right foods. Okay. But the reason or how NAC helps is because it helps with providing enough glutathione. And it can actually reduce the duration of influenza and lower cytokine productions. Quercetin is another antioxidant that I like to mention. Earlier on, we talked about zinc. Quercetin is part of compounds known as flavonoids. So it has an affinity for zinc. It's known as an ionophore. Basically, what that means is the transport mechanism for zinc. Think of a bus. It just gives zinc a ride so that zinc can get inside the cell. Foods high in quercetin include all berries, black seed, elderberry, red onions, hot peppers, oregano, and cranberries. The recommended level for supplementation of quercetin is 500 milligrams twice a day. So as a review, you can see it's a flavonoid, it's a zinc ionophore, and inhibits viruses from entering the cell. The dose for quercetin is between 500 to 1500 milligrams a day. Garlic. Garlic is an immunity superstar, and it's available for all of us. It's an antimicrobial. It has a compound known as allicin, and this compound becomes active when garlic is crushed or chopped. It's a great way to enhance the taste of food, and so we recommend that you eat garlic every day. So what are the immune system attackers? Well, we talked about processed foods, and we talked about simple sugars, as well as inadequate rest. So we recommend to aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day. Stay away from those boxes and cans as much as possible. And remember that, well, in one study that I want to mention again, is that sleeping 5 or fewer hours per night may increase mortality risk by as much as 15%. And that 2 hours of sleep deprivation nightly for 1 week in healthy individuals is associated with marked increase of the body's inflammation. So this is the information that I had for you today. I hope that we will have sometime in the future to continue sharing different ways that can improve health. I just want to highlight that what I share with you was given as an education purpose, and that is not meant to replace the advice of your medical provider. That due to the time constraints, the information that I've shared with you is in no way complete. So I invite you to continue to learn and search for ways to improve your health. Good health is a journey for most of us. And what matters most is to keep growing and to start with at least 1 to 2 changes, 1 to 2 steps, but not to delay it, to start today. So in order to protect your immune system, remember, include a variety of colorful foods, Avoid processed foods, including added sugars. Think about growing your own food, preparing foods in a simple way. Remember that if we don't put the effort, maybe later on, then we'll pay the price. Drink water. Water is very important, and adding lemon is a great way to increase your vitamin C. Aim to sleep at least 7 hours a day, and include garlic and onion in your diet regularly. When sick, other things that could be helpful, and we don't have time to go into detail today, but it's something to think about, will be essential oils such as echinacea, oregano, eucalyptus to your routine. And don't forget again to consult with your medical providers. In this picture, I just want to highlight the fact that when it comes to staying healthy in the midst of a global pandemic, oftentimes we hear a lot about what you see on the left side. That's important, but we have to remember that nothing can beat God's prescription to build your immune system. And that is going to be based on a healthy diet, proper rest, maybe at times a little supplementation, plenty of exercise, and most of all, trust in God. So I'll leave you with this text found in Philippians 4:19. But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. Let us ask God for his guidance and trust him above all. Thank you, and God bless.